Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Brandon Podziemski has emerged as a great player with star potential and has become a fan favorite, but this season he has shown some decline, which was previously considered non-negotiable by Warriors owner Joe Lacob, and now he could be involved in exchange for another star. There are already teams interested in the promising player, and some of these teams are the Dallas Mavericks, Utah Jazz, Miami Heat and Minnesota Timberwolves. Rumors: Brandon Podziemski could be involved in a deal at any time, so that the Warriors can sign a solid scorer. Pods hasn't lived up to second-year expectations so far. After aspirations of being in the most improved player conversation and identified as one of the brightest young stars in the league, Brandon Podziemski's start to his sophomore year hasn't been ideal for he or the Golden State Warriors. Podziemski hasn't taken the leap he or most expected in his second season, having earned all-rookie first-team honors in 2023-24. Numbers are down across the board for the 21-year-old, most notably in his shooting efficiency. Having shot 45.4% from the field and 38.5% from three-point range in his rookie year, Podziemski is now just 24.7% from deep and 38% overall. His minutes are also down, coming as quite a surprise given the off-season departures of veteran guards Klay Thompson and Chris Paul. The Warriors must retain faith in Brandon Podziemski. Podziemski's underwhelming play has drawn significant criticism from fans on social media, often going way over the top to the point of completely unwarranted for any player, let alone one in his second season. Much of that has to do not only with the regard in which Podziemski has held himself, but perhaps more so how the franchise viewed him amid trade speculation during the offseason. Owner Joe Lacob famously labeled him a future all-star during Summer League, with the front office unwilling to include Podziemski in trade talks for Utah Jazz forward Lauri Markkanen. It's those expectations that have led to so much disappointment surrounding his play through the first quarter of the season. Many are now urging Golden State to move on from last year's 19th overall pick, with trade speculation again rising in the lead-up to the February 6 deadline. Assuming that they can't land a top 20 to 25 player in the league, then there's really only one option for the Warriors: hold faith in Podziemski. If they honestly thought they had a future all-star on their hands during the offseason and that was more than just a public statement amid trade discussions, then that shouldn't change based on the first 24 games. Fans expect linear improvement from young players, but the truth is that it doesn't always come. Golden State should be patient with their young guard, while also balancing the need to prioritize the win-now approach of this team with Stephen Curry. There's no point in the Warriors selling low on Podziemski now in exchange for a role player. Doing so would be admitting they made a mistake in their evaluation just months ago. If they can get a genuine all-star, then sure, but it's unlikely that rival teams will view him as a cornerstone piece in any such trade. What Golden State do need to do is add another ball-handling playmaker, hello Dennis Schroeder, that lessens a heavy burden that was placed upon Podziemski entering just his second season. That could help alleviate some of the pressure that has built up, allowing Podziemski to get back to make the winning plays that were so impactful during his rookie year. Dennis Schroeder's trade to Warriors likely to cut Buddy Hield and Brandon Podziemski's minutes. Dennis Schroeder will have a big role in the Warriors' backcourt and will take Buddy Hield and Brandon Podziemski's minutes. The Golden State Warriors have reportedly pulled off the first big move during this 2024-25 season, as they have finalized a trade for guard Dennis Schroeder from the Brooklyn Nets. If and when Schroeder arrives, The Athletic's Anthony Slater reports he will take on a big role and take minutes from Buddy Hield and Brandon Podziemski. Schroeder is expected to step into a large role in the Warriors' backcourt. He's an extra scorer and pick-and-roll ball handler who should be able to run some offense while Steph Curry is off the court, yet also fit next to Curry in certain lineups, the Warriors believe, because of his pesky defense. Schroeder's arrival will likely lessen the minute totals for Brandon Podziemski and Buddy Hield, among others. Schroeder is in the midst of the best season of his career, with averages of 18.4 points, 3.0 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 1.1 steals, and 0.2 blocks per game for the Nets in 2024-25. It was to be expected that he'd get a big role with the Warriors, but his taking Hield's minutes is perhaps a bit of a surprise. Hield has cooled down a bit after a hot start to the season but remains one of the more effective offensive options on that Warriors roster. The 31-year-old is averaging 14.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 0.9 steals, and 0.3 blocks per game in 2024-25 while shooting 42.6% from beyond the arc. Cutting his minutes might not go down all that well with the fanbase. As for Podziemski, well, his minutes going down was something that was unfortunately long overdue. The 21-year-old had an excellent rookie season, but this sophomore campaign hasn't gone according to plan. Podziemski is averaging 7.9 points, 4.8 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 0.8 steals, and 0.3 blocks per game in 2024-25. He is shooting just 38% from the field and 24.7% from beyond the arc and has struggled badly. Warriors head coach Steve Kerr also bluntly called out Podziemski after a loss to the Nuggets on December 3. Kerr wasn't happy one bit with his decision-making, and the guard might be in the doghouse following this Schroeder trade. While Podziemski might not have been smiling when he heard about Schroeder coming to the Warriors, the German himself sure was. He took to X to celebrate the news. Anyone would be happy going from the rebuilding Nets to the Warriors, who are hoping to be serious title contenders this season. It looked like they were going to be just that earlier on in the season, as they got off to an impressive 10-2 start. It's been all downhill since then, though. The Warriors lost to the Houston Rockets on Wednesday at Toyota Center in the NBA Cup quarterfinals saw them drop to 14-10 on the season. They have somewhat lost their way, and it seemed like they had to make some move. Schroeder is who they're looking at to help them get back on track, and they gave up to Anthony Melton and 3 second-round picks to get him and a second-rounder. It will be interesting to see how much of an impact he can make next to Stephen Curry, but we might have to wait a bit to see him in action. Warriors make early trade splash, acquire Schroeder from Nets. The Golden State Warriors have rang in the NBA's annual season of trades by acquiring guard Dennis Schroeder and a second-round draft pick from the Brooklyn Nets, in exchange for the injured DeAnthony Melton and 3 second-round picks, according to leading NBA insider Shams Charania. In a tweet, Charania referred to trading for Schroeder as a priority for the Warriors. The Warriors envision starting lineups with Dennis Schroeder and Stephen Curry in the backcourt, with Schroeder able to alleviate ball-handling responsibilities at point guard, he wrote. Schroeder will likely slot into lineups as a Melton replacement, with the latter's scoring being sorely missed late into games ever since he sustained a season-ending knee injury in November. It might not be the only trade they make in the coming weeks. I'm told they remain active in the hunt for a star player, and they can aggregate Schroeder's contract in a bigger move later this season, said Charania on Saturday night's broadcast of NBA Countdown. For now, though, Warriors fans seem very pleased that the team made the deal, and likely justifiably so. Schroeder, after playing well while leading his native Germany to a 4th-place finish at this year's Summer Olympics, has carried that momentum into the regular season and is currently having his best year yet. As of writing, he is currently averaging 18.4 points per game on 45.2% shooting from the field and 38.7% from the three-point line, while also contributing 6.6 assists and 3.0 rebounds per game, stats that are all at or near career highs for the 11th-year guard. Athletic Alchemy, whose 77,000 subscribers make him the largest YouTube channel exclusively covering the Warriors, reacted very positively when he heard of the trade. In a video published Saturday afternoon, he heavily praised Schroeder for his athleticism, defense, and ability to drive to the rim. Christmas has come early for Dub Nation, he said. Give Warriors general manager, Mike Dunleavy, his flowers.